The first diplomatic talks between North and South Korea in 2 years are expected to begin just any moment. Reports suggest the meeting will focus on North Korea's potential involvement in the next month's Olympic Games. Talks could also lead to improving relations between the two nations. U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, seems to be optimistic.
I think two countries can talk if they want. I think they're going to talk about the Olympics. It's not my understanding that they're going to talk about anything further, but, you know, those two countries have to get along. That's good for the United States if they can at least start getting back into talk. So I think that's a good thing.
For more on this, we're joined tonight by Nicolas Davies, author of Blood on Our Hands, The American Invasion and Destruction of Iraq. Mr. Davies, nice to have you with us tonight. Give us the lay of the land here now that there is a new president in South Korea. Moon Jae-in has got somewhat of a different approach, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was elected as a liberal and really as a peace candidate after the very conservative Park Chung-hee, who suspended talks with North Korea and closed the Kaesong Industrial Park about 2 years ago. So the South Koreans are going into these talks saying that they're ready to talk to North Korea about just about anything. And in particular, they want to talk about families separated on the two sides of the border. And they also would like to restart a military dialogue.
What do you think the political risk here? What do you think the political risk here is for the United States as far as, you know, keeping South Korea as a strong ally here? For instance, the war games versus nuclear suspension. What are your expectations?
Well, very clearly, however much the alliance with the U.S. means to South Korea, it's not worth having their country destroyed over. And so if there's really a chance for peace here, I'm sure the South Koreans want to go for it. And so as the South Koreans and the North Koreans talk to each other, if the South Koreans indicate that they may be willing to accept the framework that the Chinese have suggested, which is to say that the U.S. and South Korea stop practicing for the destruction of North Korea, and that on the other side, North Korea will suspend its nuclear weapons tests and its missile tests. If South Korea indicates that it might be willing to go along with something like that, you know, this could really leave the Trump administration quite isolated and make it much harder for the U.S. to get other allies to support it in its aggressive stance.
But you've got Russia, the United States, and China all on the same page. They don't want North Korea to be in the nuclear community. They don't want them to have that capability. So South Korea, they're going to have to take that stand in these talks at some time or another, aren't they? Or is this just to get past the Olympics and then go back to where we were? What do you think?
Well, I think the South Koreans also know very well that historically North Korea has been ready to talk. The 1994 framework agreement involved completely giving up any kind of nuclear weapons program, and in exchange for a solid non-aggression pact and a solid peace treaty on the Korean Peninsula.
But since those years, since that decade, where's Gaddafi? Okay, that's got to be what Kim Jong-un is thinking about, that other people that have done deals weren't around very long once they gave up their program. Doesn't he view this as his real security, that this is something that he can't give up, and that's going to bring us to a decision of confrontation with this Trump administration? Final word.
Well, North Korea has been brought to that position. The Bush administration, led on these issues by Dick Cheney and John Bolton at the State Department, undermined the framework agreement. They also refused to pursue negotiations that were underway between the Clinton administration
Yeah.
in which North Korea
That's the point that Trump has made. Nobody's approach has worked in 25 years, depending what the administration was. So hopefully these talks will do something. Nicolas Davies, it's nice to have you with us. Appreciate your time tonight on RT.